when you're able to get a few things and you've worked hard, they feel better. They feel better.
Yeah.
They feel better than you trying to just go try to find the cheapest Lamborghini Gallardo just so you could drive it around Northern Kentucky and flex a little bit. That might make you feel good short term, but long term, you're playing small game. That's small ball. Like, that's not your goals, and what you want to do should be so big that when you say it out loud, people laugh at you.
Man, he brought his own. Okay.
Little swag there.
This is sweet, man. We're going to start building this up. In our previous studio, we had shelves, and then Chris Breeden, who his mom started Arnold's downtown. He came in. He brought some really cool stuff. Albert Fetters, who is operating Fetters Construction now, doing some big stuff. Albert's a great dude.
Yep.
Had the guy who was one of the founders of Lids, the headwear company. He was in here from Missouri. So it's going to be a national podcast, but this is cool, man. All right, so a 5950.
Yeah, a little 5950 straight bill.
Yeah, man. Are you a square hat guy?
I go flat bill. Yeah.
Do you? Like,
I
you're
go flat bill.
And you look terrible. My head is so like.
Well, when I'm in the kitchen, it's hot, obviously. So I tend to wear a hat. Lots of times when I'm prepping or working in my own kitchen, I wear a hat because I don't like the sweat to get everywhere. But, hey, I'm 49. At some point I'm still a kid somewhere. So, I kind of like to.
So you're looking good for 49.
Oh.
So we'll jump into this. We'll jump in over the past two to 3 years on what I saw your fitness journey's been to. So that's pretty exciting. I'm sure you have a story to tell about that. So we'll get cranked. So Ken Durbin, thanks for coming in. I love when we have Northern Kentucky folks, and because this is really a Cincinnati-based podcast, but it's Northern Kentucky. A lot of people that will listen and be like, where the heck is Northern Kentucky? Guys, it's just south of Cincinnati. I mean, that's what it is, right? We like being our own culture. We think we're our own special thing, but no one knows where we're at. Right?
A lot of people from Cincinnati, they'll ask me, like, where I'm from, and I'll say Edgewood, and they'll say, oh, I didn't know you had to come so far. And I'm like, it was 10 minutes.
In Mount Adams or something or whatever.
Mount Lookout.
Yeah.
It'd be like literally 15 minutes to get from where I am in Edgewood, where the business is based, to Cincinnati. But, I think Kentucky, we kind of like the fact that we're kind of self-sufficient on this side of the river. And we kind of have our own thing going.
Yeah, why are we so damn proud? Is everybody just proud of their hometown, their home? So why are we so proud?
Look, I'm that guy. I live in Edgewood, but I grew up basically off of Handspike and what's now Covington, kind of Taylor Mill. It's about 3 miles from where I live now. So I'm that guy that kind of stays in the same location. And I think it was the way I was raised. You did take pride in being from Kentucky and being a UK fan or things like that.
Whatever it was. What is bluegrass? What the hell, man? The bluegrass state. When you see it, do you know it?
I think that that has something to do with the shade of the green grass somewhere. I don't know. I think somebody was drinking bourbon when they said that.
That's not a bad thing, right?
It's not really. It kind of tells the story of Kentucky.
Yeah. I think so. So some details about you. So you are. I don't know what you consider your title, but I think you founded the At Home Chef in 2013 or 14.
Yeah.
And then there's an interesting statement on your logo, and I don't want to get this word wrong. You know the word, but an intimate epicurean experience. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that the correct word?
Yes.
And so I want you to touch on that here in a little bit. There's some things about locally sourced food. That's an important piece of this. Recent accolades. You guys have won this best of NKY so many years. But again, the best of in 4 years, like in a row.
I mean, it's 4 years in a row. I mean, let's just make sure we get it right.
So the best of, what's the category for the best of Northern Kentucky you guys
It's
won?
Best Chef of NKY.
Best Chef. Okay, we need to hear all about that. All right, and then this health journey, and we want to hear about Grandma too. So this is going to be exciting. So where did you get the idea? It's fascinating to me when Dave was talking about you coming in and sitting down and talking to us. This is fascinating to me because I'm a very busy guy, and I personally love the idea about having a professional chef coming in and cooking for a group of people that are really close to me, special people, so you can more enjoy the experience, the night. So explain this to me, where this came from, how it came about, the evolution of it.
Sure. When I was, it started back a little bit before when I let's take it back to when I was 36 and decided to make a second career and go to culinary school. At the time, I was working at Fidelity Investments, and everyone that I knew told me that, what do you mean you're leaving here to go to culinary school? What do you mean you're going to go from making what you are to making $8 an hour to work at a restaurant while you go to school? Yeah, it didn't go over very well. But when I visited the Midwest Culinary Institute here at Cincinnati State, I realized that these were my people, and that there was just something inside of me that was wanting to get out. That I felt this attachment immediately when I toured the kitchens, and knew that I had to enroll immediately. So that's what I did. Enrolled at Cincinnati State. While I was there, I got to work at the fine dining restaurant at the Summit restaurant on campus. Learned there, went from there to a few different restaurants downtown. Made my way to the University Club downtown, and was chef there. And learned that the restaurant business and working in the restaurant is difficult for a guy who's a little bit older. It's kind of a young guy's game. And it was a little tough. So I left there and went to go well, actually, when I was there, I did have someone say on an occasion, I wish you could just bring all this to my house. Because we would do private dinners there along with, regular dinner service. And it kind of had a light bulb in my head at that point, but I wasn't in any kind of position to make that move. And then I left there, joined some friends, and we spent an entire summer helping Belterra open up down at the river, getting their menu set, doing all the development for that. And in the process of doing that, I realized that I wanted to do my own business, and I wanted to I kind of had this idea in the back of my head, but you know how it is, especially from someone who's always worked for someone else. To do it for yourself is a big leap. A lot of people talk about it, they don't do it. So I had to just do it. I remember the night that I decided, and from then I went and started writing a business plan. And it started out as this big grandiose thing. I was going to have memberships and all this, cooking classes and that. And basically what I found over doing it was that most people just wanted that intimate epicurean or intimate dining, fine dining experience in their home. And I did that for a while, and then it developed into this thing that I didn't really see coming. It just evolved on its own, honestly, to helping people enjoy their life. And that's just really what it ended up being. That's what it is right now. I just go in and I just happen to use food, but I help people enjoy their lives.
What do you think? So as you were talking about this, I think about my entrepreneurial journeys and about all of the, when you said you wrote that first business plan, I knew that the outcome was going to be, it didn't go the way the business plan was written.
Yeah, no.
It just never does.
No, it doesn't. But it allowed me to open up my head to the possibilities within that kind of that bubble of what I was kind of living in. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this and do this and do this. And what I found was what I was really good at and what people wanted. So you can have all the ideas you want, yep. But in owning a business, your clients or your customers are going to tell you what they want. They're going to tell you, we like you. You do this very well. Like, you should do that,
Yeah.
And once I grabbed a hold to that idea and, started developing that a little bit sharper and kind of, getting rid of kind of the stuff that I wasn't really doing, that I'm having to put money towards, that's really not giving me a good ROI. And when I started concentrating, I can tell you when the business pivoted, like, not to use pivot.
That's all right.
But there was a very emotional time when the business pivoted. So I will be honest with you.
Yeah.
The first few years of the business was really hard because I was basically creating something that really nobody in this area does. There's a few people that kind of dip their toes in it, or they might do it, but the way that I wanted to do it, nobody was doing that. So no one understood it. When I said the at-home chef, they're like, "What? Do you deliver meals? No, this is what I do." And they're like,
I'm coming into your home and I'm going to cook you a gourmet experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the best meal of your life.
Yeah,
that's the goal every single time.
So those first couple years, go into that. Let's talk about that. About what that felt like when you said, "Man, let's be honest." I think about all these moments. It's just awesome talking to guys like you that you've been through it, and I think that's what helps so many people. It's like, hey, if you have this hope and this dream and this idea to start a business, everybody's got the idea, like you said, right? If you've got it and you're going to have the gumption to step out and actually do it, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's hard because no one understands you.
Okay.
No one understands you. I told my mom, I told, people, I told my friends, and,
What's hard about that, about them not understanding you? What's the hard part about that?
Because this is something that you're kind of like, you're very vulnerable. So when you want your core group to believe in you, well, the belief isn't there because you haven't done anything, right? You haven't done anything.
So why should they believe, right?
They're not going to.
Yeah.
And
because you may not if you're them.
Absolutely. And if you're out there right now and you're trying to think about, I'm going to start a business, but I'm worried about what John's going to think, or Bill's going to think, or my mom or dad or girlfriend or wife,
or Ken or Mark,
they are not going to understand.
Yeah.
They're not, because you haven't.
So what do you have to do then? If they're not going to understand and now you know it, if you could go back and tell the Ken that, should you still do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's it take to overcome that? What do you have to have inside of you? What are the attributes? What are the characteristics? What's the mindset?
Yeah, the mindset is you have to earn their belief. The belief is not there. You have to go out and earn it. So in the process of having this business with hardly any money in the bank, you don't have any money. You're not making money. You're not making a paycheck like you were every single week. You're trying to think of ideas. Everything, like with this business, a lot of things are on my shoulder. I do all my own social media. I do everything. So that I just like doing that. But what I would tell that guy is, here, I'm going to give you the key to cut down on and shorten this learning curve for you. And I'm going to tell you to put your head down and earn their belief. Because you have to put your head down, do things over and over and over and over again, and tell yourself, I'm doing good. And say it out loud. Earn the confidence and accept it, And once you have that, you'll feel good about yourself. And in that process, people are going to start seeing. They're going to start seeing that you're doing the dinners. You're putting it out on social media. They're going to see that you got your head up, your chin up. You're proud about what you do. And I spent a lot of years at the beginning, like, I don't want to say, I don't know if I was 100%. Because I still was out. I had confidence issues.
Some self-doubt, right? You're like, man. So what kept you going?
What kept me going probably was two things. First thing would be I just like to do it.
Okay.
Like, it was a lot of fun, and it was fun just to create the journey of figuring out how this business is even going to make money and how's it going to work. But what it's developed into is now it's like I just love going into people's homes and like just getting to celebrate these wonderful occasions with people, and I get to be the one who does it.
So food's just the way that you're doing it.
It's the instrument,
right,
is what I say.
Yeah.
I mean, some people go in and play music. Some people do all kinds of things. I just use the food. One of the key things is that, I think in my realm of chefs and cooks and, restaurateurs, and it can be a little ego. You know, because with the food culture the way it is on TV and everything, you know, you can taste ego sometimes at a restaurant. You know, the chef wants to impress people. And so for me, once I got out of my head and was like, this isn't about me. This is about the client and their experience and how we're going to create the most incredible experience for them. That's when the business like changed. You know, when I took myself out of it and said, you know what? I don't care if I don't make $1 million doing this right now because I'm having so much fun that I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing it and stay where I'm at, or, you know, not stay where I'm at, but just enjoy.
You're okay, right?
I'm okay.
You're okay at the moment.
And
like,
here's the secret.
Okay.
When you have that, that's when you start making money. Because
so how long did that take?
Different. Man, I would say about 4 years, solid.
You know what we have in this business, what we figured out, you know, whether it's a real estate game, whether it's these other businesses we have, we actually teach and train. It's a 3 to 5 year game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's a big combination. We haven't figured out exactly why that is, but it seems like it's this combination of things calm down. You gain a little bit more confidence. People around you, as you noted, they start to believe a little bit because you've had some stick-to-itiveness. When you have a little bit of success, you have a little bit more faith in yourself. And so all of these things compound. If you can make it 3 to 4 to 5 years, I think that's a term even in business. If you can make it 5 years in business, the numbers go your way. And so the tough thing is to tell that young entrepreneur,
yeah, I mean, and
keep going.
It's so hard. It's so hard because when you're starting out, you know, you're seeing on the internet, oh, this entrepreneur, he's got the Lamborghini, he's got this, he's got that. You know what? He probably rented that Lamborghini, and he took that picture in front of somebody he knows has a big house, and
went out to Lunkin and shot it in front of the private jet. It's not really his, and
he's trying to flex, right? And what I would tell that young entrepreneur is, it's good to have things you want. It's great to work hard to get those things, because I'm going to tell you, when you're able to get a few things and you know you've worked hard, they feel better. They feel better. Yeah. They feel better than you trying to just go try to find the cheapest Lamborghini Gallardo just so you could drive it around Northern Kentucky and flex a little bit. That might make you feel good short term, but long term, that's you're playing small game. That's small ball. Like, that's not your goals, and what you want to do should be so big that when you say it out loud, people laugh at you. That's how big your goals should be. Because if you fall short, it's still probably better than the majority of people that would achieve.
So the process of Ken becoming this Ken today, right? It's an evolution, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you would have done this podcast 4 or 5 years ago or 3 years ago, you know, at that 4-year mark, you would be like, yeah, this guy, he's got so much to learn, and he thinks he knows it all. You know, he has that confidence to himself that
maybe unearned confidence,
maybe 50% earned, 50% unearned, and he's just kind of like, I don't like that term of faking until you make it. I don't like that, but I like the fact that you're trying to you're trying. You know, that's the key.
But you kept going, though, right? So there's a balance here in the message in that, hey, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be great in the beginning. There's going to be massive failure. But if you keep going, whatever keeps you going, if you keep going, like, that's the sweet sauce. Because you're going to learn. You're going to arrive at this place one day. You're going to wake up, and you're like, man, I figured it out.
Yeah.
It's about customers.
Oh, it's always about...
It's about the experience.
And, you know, my goal when I have employees with me and we're at the dinner, our goal tonight is to create the best dinner these people have ever ate in their life. That's it. Like, anything else is short of what we want.
So in trying to help entrepreneurs, what you spoke about was, if I could go back and tell the Ken of those years ago, but here's the question. Could you have? Could the Ken of 2013, I think you have to go through this stuff.
You have to go through it. And that's the problem with people, is because we're in a I want it now culture, and people see people.
Well, they see Ken now.
They see Ken now, but they don't know where the journey happened when they see the beautiful food and they see how I do things. They don't really realize, you know, how long that took. You know, all the mistakes I made when, just doing the dinners. And what I thought was great 5 years ago, I would
Embarrassed
I
now.
would give the client their money back if I did that.
But there's no way to get here without going through that, right?
You have to, and you're going to fail miserably.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go to a dinner and leave stuff in the refrigerator back at the kitchen, and you're 40 miles away. Okay? You're going to forget ingredients. You're going to forget things. Things happen. You're going to, it was 9? I thought you said 8. You're not listening. You don't have the procedures. You don't have the things in place to make sure those don't happen. And when you make that mistake, you do put those things in all those little steps you take. What do they say? You can't eat an elephant in one bite. It's one bite at a time. You have to take your time with it. You have to.
So how could you have shortened the learning curve? If you still have to go through it, how could you have? How can Mark and Ken help new entrepreneurs?
I would say for me, in my business, I'm not really speaking for anyone else because I certainly don't understand real estate.
It's all business.
I like the wheeling and dealing and the negotiating part, but that's about it. For me and my business, it would have been immediately focus on the client. Focus on the client's needs, how to make that experience like great, not good. Like exceed the expectation. That's one of our core values of the business.
Why is that? Why is that the number one thing? I mean, it seems like a simple question, but if you're arguing, why?
Because that's how you build a lifetime customer. That's
those
how
referrals too,
they
right?
have that number above their head, right? Yeah. So, okay, I can do the minimum, make the absolute most margin on this client, but the quality may not be there. Then if the quality's not there, they may be like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't great. No, it's great. Like and at that time, maybe I didn't feel that way, but focusing on the client and exceed their expectation, blow them out of the water, do whatever it takes to go the extra mile. That's it.
So can you think about, it's a great thing you brought up. Can you think about like the moment you had?
Oh, I mean,
so think about this moment of the biggest moment since 2013 in your business where you had to do whatever it took no matter what. Like the biggest all-in crazy lift. Shit was hitting the fan. You had to do above and beyond. No one ever would. What's the moment?
Well, I don't know if it was an above and beyond moment where it was this chaotic situation. But it was the moment where I realized that it's all about the client and not about me. So there was a dinner, a young lady, and we won't say any names, but this young lady said, hey, I want to do a dinner for my mom. It's her birthday, beginning of the year. And I said, great. And I said, hey, I'll call you at the end of December. We'll get things set up. She's like, great. So I was thinking about it, and I called her, or I texted her, and I said, hey, let's get together, talk about the menu and this and that. And her response back was, well, my dad's going to pass away tomorrow. Like, okay. If I can help you, let me know. If you need food, whatever, everything, no problem. And I just kind of let it be. And, that happened. It went through, and then she texted me back, and she's like, I want you to do the dinner because it's going to be like a celebration of his life, mom's life, whatever, and just us all getting together and enjoying ourselves. And at that point, I made the decision that that we're going to go ahead and do the dinner, and just like we would always do. And it was somber. It was a somber deal, and it's kind of a weird. We've had a couple like that. In the years I've done it, but this one just hit different. And so we got done with the dinner, and she's like, hey, and this is before I had automated invoicing and stuff, so I would just take checks from people at dinners and this and that. And she goes, okay, I'll go ahead and pay you. And I said, no, we're not charging you. And she got upset. I got upset. Everybody was upset, And at that moment, I realized that that dinner meant a whole lot more to that family and them than it meant to me. And I went home and I was like, this is all about them. This has nothing to do about me. These dinners I do for people, it's about bringing people together at a table where no one's on their phones and they're just laughing and enjoying themselves, because that's what my life was. I'm an older guy, so I grew up before phones. And I realized it was about bringing that experience to people in their homes. And that was every dinner since that dinner.
It was a pivotal moment.
That has never been the same. So when I think about every single thing I do, from the time you contact me to the time that, I'm cleaning your kitchen before I leave, that everything I do in between there is about for you. Everything. I'm doing it for you and how I can make it great, and that was the difference in the business. There was a before that and after that. And after that, the focus on hashtag enjoy life. That's what we use for our business, helping people enjoy their lives. And right now, and since 2020, it's been an incredible opportunity to help people enjoy their lives and come into their home and get people back together. So that was the biggest moment where like I said earlier, I'm happy. I'm good. If I don't make all this crazy money I want to be and, this and that, I'll be great because I know what I do helps people in their life. And then along with that, though, came a little success beyond that and a lot more confidence and belief that
you're doing the right thing. You're making a difference.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
man.
Your purpose,
there's purpose behind it,
overlaps what you're doing, and they're so intermingled tightly that once you have those two elements, that's when you see, and it's like you wake up and you're like, oh, this is what it's about. This is what I do. And ever since then, I've been able to talk about the business easier, explain it to people easier, because there's an emotion attached to it.
So on your website, you talk about going to your grandma's kitchen.
Yeah.
Grandma who?
So it's my dad's mother. She lived down in Newport, where the Target is now. She lived along that hillside there. Sears Roebuck home up on the hill, 1,000,000 steps to get to the front door. And she would cook Sunday supper. And so when I was a young kid, we would go there and Sunday supper. She would be cooking in the kitchen all day, and I would watch. And I was always just interested. What are you making? What is it? So then she moved to Pennsylvania to be closer to her sister after she retired, and we would drive up there occasionally through the year, and all it was about was what we were going to eat. My grandmother, we would call an hour before we get to the house, and my dad would be like, "What are you making?" And I'm listening on the phone, like we're both listening. Noodles and beef and noodles, and I'm like, "Oh my God, hurry up!" Like that last hour took 4 hours. So, so then in that small little apartment kitchen, I used to just watch her. Like, how does she make these mashed potatoes? Oh, it's 4 sticks of butter. That's how she makes them. How about the gravy? Well, it's fat, lots of fat in that, and so not butter, probably lard or bacon fat.
Yeah.
That was sitting on the counter there. So
was that Grandma Durbin? Is that
no? Well, no,
not really.
Not really.
So this grandma made an impact on you. What would she think about what you're doing now?
Well, my dad never even got to see it because he passed at 52, and I was 24 years old, and I was in a whole different part of my life at that point.
So what would Dad think right now?
Oh, man. Well, he owned his own business too, and wasn't food or anything like that. So he would probably be very proud, I would hope, with me. And I think he would have enjoyed those first 4 years, those years where there was a little struggle and it would have been nice to have him around to bounce things off of. Maybe the learning curve would have been a little shorter at that point. He probably would have told me immediately, "You're worrying about the wrong things. You're worrying about you need to worry about the people, not you. This is nothing about you." But she would probably be really excited and want me to cook for her, because I never saw her eat. Like the whole time, like when you were eating breakfast, she was asking you about lunch and dinner. When you were eating dinner, she was asking about breakfast.
She was there to serve, man.
Just cooking all the time, and it was it was not about her. It was about how she only had us there for a short period of time, and she wanted to show her appreciation and her love by cooking. And I do the exact same thing, whether it's cooking at home or cooking, for my clients. Every dish I make is I try to put love in that, and I think that's probably what I got from her was just. But I got that mashed potato recipe.
Okay,
yeah.
4 sticks of butter.
Oh yeah,
you didn't tell us anything else. We just know 4 sticks of butter.
Yeah.
So this you look physically like a totally different guy from your marketing, from your YouTube videos from 2 and 3 and 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that fitness journey? Is it too deep and too personal, or is it?
Well, no. It's pretty straightforward. I just got off my rear end and started moving. When COVID hit in March of 2020, if nobody knows, obviously I think everybody does.
Yeah.
We did what everybody did. We sat home, did Zoom drinking and, Zoom call happy hours and eating pizza and tater tots on my birthday and just, and I was probably 270, 275 then, and
down to?
I don't weigh myself very often. I do body fat now, but I would say I'm probably about 185, 180.
Kudos, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And so when COVID came and we're like, and then people were still calling me. These people, they want to do dinners. They don't care about it.
I was wondering about that. I bet maybe it didn't even only change. It might have increased.
Well, I don't like to say that. I kind of did benefit a little bit from the fact that restaurants were closed, which broke my heart, and it still breaks my heart. Because a lot of in my journey too, I've had opportunities to open a restaurant, and I chose not to because I wanted a little. And if I would have been younger, I probably would have done it. Later in life, I wanted more balance in my life and be able to kind of do what I want when I want, to an extent. So I didn't go down that route, and I truly believe that if I had, I don't know. I mean,
you might not be here.
Yeah, I may not be here, or
right?
My business certainly wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, we put out a press release. We shut down everything. I took care of my mom. My wife took care of her mother, and we just locked down. We did what everybody else did. We got the groceries delivered. We wiped them down. We did all that stuff. And once things started to level out and we had more information about everything, that's kind of when we decided on a single client to client basis on what they're comfortable with, what we're comfortable with, and we would just kind of talk about that and then kind of come to an agreement on how things the protocol for the dinners would be. But we did in that summer, well, I would say probably May, June, we started to go back into people's homes and doing dinners. And we did have an extensive safety protocol for that. And then over time, everyone's you got your vaccine, get the boosters, whatever, and people are more and more comfortable. We're pretty much back to normal now. But in my process during that time was I started realizing that if I get this COVID right now, I'm not going to be in good shape. And
because your weight, because your health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
The comorbidity, that it's just not going to be a good thing if I get it. So that October, I was out at Pahrump, Nevada, and I was doing a Corvette driving school, and they take pictures when you're there, and I saw these pictures, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I was like, "Man, I got to figure something out." So at that point, I made the decision. So November 1st, basically, was I'm not drinking to the end of the year. I'm not having. I just said I'm not. And listen, that's the hardest time of the year to do it. It's all the holidays. It's all the parties. And I said I'm gonna do intermittent fasting. I did all these things. Had a diet written up that I follow, and I just did it one day at a time. Started working out. Started doing a lot of cardio. Started walking outside. And over time, it just became like, oh, I don't want to do this. To I like can't function now unless I go exercise every day. Like mentally, I can't function.
How long did it take for those habits to start forming and for your mindset to change? So if November 1st, 2020, you start.
I would say it was seriously hard through that holiday season, but I did it. I had no alcohol. I cut out all the sugar, and I had no sweets, nothing, not one bite.
So what was it? Was all about, it started with looking at that picture.
Looking at that picture, I had a neighbor who's older he's a good friend of mine, and he collects cars and stuff, and he was in the hospital, just got put in the ICU.
With COVID.
And, he was there for like 9 months. Yeah, he's out now. He's just starting to learn to walk again. So,
just a combination of things. And you're looking at your mortality, right? Your age, and you're like, man,
yeah.
if I want to have a good life,
yeah,
I have to do something.
Yeah, so this is like either do it now or you're just kind of like just
waiting to die.
So I always heard this idea of just building this discipline, sharpening that discipline. I'm like, well, I got discipline. No, I didn't. Not even close. I do now. Now people are like, how do you do that? I just wake up every day, and like this morning when it was cloudy and I could just stay in bed, like as soon as I have that thought in my head, just stay. Yeah, just no. I get up immediately and go. So
how'd you form it? Was it 3 months, 4 months, 5 months before you had this moment where you said, hey, I can't go through my day without working out, without walking? How long did it take for you to form that habit?
I would say probably right after, like I felt really good right after Christmas, New Year's.
After New Year's.
Yeah, and I had been able to look back and go, I just nailed that 3 months of debauchery, which usually it is.
Yes.
You're going to party every weekend.
Yep.
I mean, a Christmas party, not to mention, I'm cooking.
Drinking
with all
at the same
food,
time.
People are drinking. They always want me to stay and have a bourbon with them afterwards or wine.
And you did.
Yeah, I used to do it all the time. I would do it, but now I would say, I'm on this. I'm just trying to stay a little healthy, and and I always felt weird about that. I don't feel weird about it now.
This is what I do. This is what I'm doing.
This is kind of who I am.
So you mentioned the discipline piece. So if you had to weigh out the getting healthy, Ken Durbin getting healthy algorithm or equation, how much of it is changing the way you eat? How much of it was exercise? Maybe another piece of health. I mean, so no drinking or not much.
Not much.
Okay.
I mean, now I'll occasionally have some drinking, bourbon here and there. Had some yesterday, actually.
Nice.
But I would say if you had to break it down into percentages, eating, I would say, was somewhere between 80-85%, and then 15% was probably exercise. Even though the exercise is beneficial for your metabolism and mentally, the food was the biggest hurdle for me, just because I'm around the most delicious food all the time, and that if I want something, I know where to go in this city to find the best one. Like, if I go to a restaurant and the chef, and I know the chef, which just happened downtown, we go and we sit down for dinner, and the chef starts sending things out, and like, now we have a whole table full of food, and it's literally disrespectful to not eat that and do it and try it. So,
so how'd you do it? Saying all that, how did you change the way you eat?
It's just that, like,
I know the discipline factor, but how
the discipline, but then just like, it's really hard, man, because when someone, and you're sitting, let's say we're all sitting at a table right here, and there's pizza and there's garlic bread and everything else that you love in life
that I eat right now,
and you're looking at it, and now my brain goes, no, you ain't winning today. You're not winning today. I know you want me to eat. You're not winning. I'm going to, and then I would feel bad for about a second. And then when I left and I would go home, I'd go, yes, I just nailed that. Because the old guy couldn't do that. The old guy would have went head first into that pizza and probably hammered it out, at least half of it himself,
So it took 2 to 3 months for your brain to start, right? You get into January of 21, and you're starting to say, okay, this is working.
I'm seeing results.
Yep.
Right, and I'm starting to see things. I mean, I literally had to throw all of my clothes out, every single thing I had. And buy all new clothing eventually through 21. And now, now that I'm wearing the size I'm in now the motivation is, well, I'm never going back to doing, because I will tell you, and it kind of overlaps the young entrepreneur, is everybody thinks you're going to fail anyway. So everybody thinks you're going to gain all your weight back. So I kind of have this, I call dark energy. So I have 2 lists, and I have 2 lists. I got the people who are supporting me, and then I have the FU list. So when I don't feel like going to the gym, or I don't feel like doing that extra rep, or I don't feel like doing anything, whether I was on the rower yesterday and getting calluses, and I don't want to be there doing that. I think I have a list of people that I can vision in my head
FU list
that want me to they want me to gain my weight back. They want it.
Why do you think that is?
Because they might be unhappy in their situation, and that's just easier to be negative towards you or negative in your journey. Everybody wants Ken the way he was.
What do you do? What do you do with those people?
Because
they come in all forms.
I don't now haters, like direct haters. I don't think I really ever had haters. Because I'm a pretty passionate guy.
Get enough success and you will, man.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when I say that, I say I do have people that say stuff.
Yeah.
But they immediately get blocked from my life. Blocked. I mean, there is no conversation with those people. I don't have a second to devote to that, because they're going to drag me down, and we're going to be 2 pigs rolling in shit, and he's happy and I'm not.
Yep.
Because he enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always picture I have this 100 points of energy a day. And I don't have one.
So for the haters, you cut them out. There's all sorts of perspective. You just cut them out.
Cut them out.
Doesn't matter who they are.
Friends. Doesn't matter, man.
Done.
They're cut out.
20-year friend. Done.
Okay. Yeah. I don't play games. Then there's some people that on Tuesday nights I do meet with guys I've known since the mid-'90s, early '90s, and I think they've all been very supportive in my journey of losing weight. Now they get a little upset because I won't drink on a Tuesday night, and it went for a year or so before I had anything, not even one sip, while they're all drinking bourbon. I will occasionally have a cigar. If you see online, I do.
We all have our guilty pleasures.
0 carbs.
Is that the answer to really losing weight? Is it the carb battle?
For me, it is. You have to be in touch with your body. I take in a pretty sufficient amount of carbs every day, but they're not like sugar carbs,
the bad ones. They're good and bad carbs.
No grain carbs and stuff like that. But I get a lot of people ask me tell me the secret, tell me this, and the kind of the
give it to us.
When I think about it, there is no secret. The secret is that you need to go and do the work. So when I post my pictures of being at the gym, it's always #we do the work, because the friend of mine owns a business supplement company, and that's what he always put. And he lost over 100 pounds as the owner. And when he did that, I was like, wow, that's really amazing. But I never thought I could do something like that. But it's just one foot in front of the other every single day. But you got to put in the work, and you got to be consistent, and you got to have a routine of discipline instilled in your life. You're not going to get it. You're not going to do it, because what happens is, man, here's how it works. We're really good on Monday. We're kind of feeling bad from the weekend because this is normal Ken. This is when Ken thought he was losing weight and in shape. Drank all weekend. Monday, I'm on it Monday, man. That's it. Monday, I'm hitting it. This is a new Ken. I'd be good to about Wednesday, and then someone would say, hey, man, we're just going to have a little light happy hour at rooftop bar. And then you stop by, man. We haven't seen you. You stop by, 3-4 beers. Thursday, you're like, oh, man, it's almost weekend. I'm going to get some more beers. I have to go out to eat on Friday with somebody, and then the weekend hits. And then Monday, man, I'm on it. This is the new Ken. I'm tired of being, And I would go through that circle. That was me. That was definitely me, And, oh, man, you're on vacation. What are you doing? No. So we have a vacation home in Rhode Island. And we go up there, and when I tell you the food is incredible in Newport, Rhode Island, it is incredible. So it's really hard to go there and not want to just eat.
Crush the clam chowder and just all the.
Well, yeah, our lobster rolls. And so I've had the house for 3 years, and I've cooked in it 3 times. That's how much we go out to eat when we're up there. So, and one of the times when it was just so blustery cold that like you didn't want to go outside, so we cooked dinner. But yeah, it's really hard. But when I was in that first year and a half journey with this, when I would go up there, it was like, no, you guys are going to drink? No. You want to eat that dessert? Go right ahead. And I just knew that every time that I could be in a situation and win that situation, I was just adding another layer of discipline, just adding to it. It becomes easier and easier and easier. And then people just realize, well, Ken's not going to eat dessert, so maybe we'll just grab something on the way home, bring it home, or maybe we just won't have dessert.
So why is it worth it? Because you're talking about a big, big change and sacrifice mentally early on.
Yeah.
Right, you're giving up something that is special. It tastes so good, and how it makes your mind and brain feel. So why is it worth it? Is that one of the most difficult things you've done?
Oh, no question.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no question.
So why is it worth it?
Looking back now, it's worth it because I feel way better. Now I'm 200. I have a counter on my phone. I think I'm 202 days to turning 50. It's not like I'm counting, but
it sure sounds like you are, Ken.
Oh my God, I'm terrified.
Do you have the hours? Can you give us the hour countdown? So
to call my mom.
So 202 days to your 50. So I said, why is it worth it? And
why is it worth it?
Yeah,
because I feel great, and not only do I feel great physically, but mentally. Now when I'm faced with something that requires discipline, I can tap into it. And I have it. So if it's something with my business or, trying to make a decision on something or, we've had a couple setbacks this year. It's you don't get devastated by it because you're like, nope, I know how to fix it. I wake up tomorrow morning, right back on it. Here's what I do. Wake up, 32 ounces of water, take my vitamins, go do cardio, fast it till this time. And that, like, I just have my morning set. That's just, I know when I wake up, I'm going to do this, do that. And there is just, no matter where I'm at, no matter if I'm, like, I'll be in Nashville next week, I'll probably pack the cup that I use in the morning. So I get my water. I usually drink about at least 120 to 140 ounces of water a day. I don't drink soda. I haven't for 9 years. I don't, yeah. So it's mostly just maybe unsweet tea and water, coffee. Mm-hmm. Got to have coffee.
Right.
Man, come on.
Yeah.
Man.
The caffeine's got to keep you going, right? You got to have something.
I know. My friend, he just released these energy drinks, and they're like 0 calories, but they got a lot of B vitamins and caffeine in there. Just
They take you to the moon.
Oh, my God. I'm like, I can only drink half of this.
It's like some nitro stuff that's just wild.
Yeah, I'm like, those chemicals, I'm pretty sure those aren't safe for humans.
But it sure does make you feel good.
Yes, it does.
So so it's worth it. How can Ken help entrepreneurs? And doesn't matter if you're young or not, you became an entrepreneur in your 30s.
Right around 40, actually.
Right?
Well, into my 40s.
So how can you help that person figure out if it's for them? Because massive failure in entrepreneurship, if you don't keep going, if you just quit and dip out and go back to the 9 to 5 and go back to being an employee, man, you sure didn't learn anything.
And it's going to hurt. I hate to say that. I mean, that's just honest. So it's going to hurt.
So how can you help people to know if they've got it in them? Because everyone who starts something thinks they do.
They think they do, but then you ask them why they're doing it. So why do you do what you do, right? So when you talk about it, you can talk about that passionately, right? So if someone asks me about how I do it, it's all about creating that just in-home experience for people and creating these wonderful meals for people and helping them celebrate. And the whole time I could talk about it for an hour and it would have nothing to do with me.
But in the beginning, that hadn't evolved.
I know. So at the beginning, I would ask somebody like, why are we doing this? What is your passion? Have you always liked, detailing cars? Yeah, I've always detailed cars since I was a little kid. And, and so tell me, do you have to ask some questions. I think the first one's, like I said, why are you doing this?
Why is that so important? Is it because that's what's going to get you through when it sucks and shit's failing and you're losing money and everybody's telling you suck and you're going to fail and quit because it's not going to get out? Is that the thing that keeps you?
Yeah, that's what keeps you. And what keeps you is your passion. So I can tell usually when I meet someone whether or not they have the passion for it, because you can just see it in their face. Like their face opens up, like they're excited about what they do.
Were you a passionate guy?
Well, I'm a passionate guy.
But were you before 40? Were you passionate?
I was probably passionate in a loud, obnoxious way. I think that's evolved a little bit. I'm still that guy. I'm still, I still got a tad of Gordon Ramsay in me, especially when it comes to the kitchen and getting things done. I would say I'm direct. I'm not rude or disrespectful. I'm just direct, and so I do have a passion. But now the passion is just creating an experience for people and being able to be at the dinner, and when I serve the plate, just be able to stand there and watch it. And I always tell someone when I have a new employee, I say, that's what we do. See what's happening at that table right now? That's what we do. This is all I have to do with food. I try to find that moment to show people because like photographer, if they come and shoot a dinner, they want to shoot just, really sexy pictures of food, and it's great. I enjoy making beautiful plates of food. That's just something I like to do. It's a very selfish part of my business. But when I tell them, I said, look, everybody is laughing. They're making eye contact. They're being respectful to each other. No one's on their phone while they're eating, because if you and I were to go downtown right now and had dinner, 40 to 50% of the people are going to have their heads down in their phones, even if they're together at the restaurant. And it's just crazy to me. But I can tell you that almost 100% of the people, when they're engaged with their friends and family in their home, they're not doing that. And to me, I kind of feel like that I'm kind of keeping that alive, because when I grew up, that's,
that was every
TV's
dinner.
off, radio's off, you're at the table, and dad's asking, how'd it go today at school, kid? How'd it go? And then, and asking about your day and talking to each other and engaging around the table and laughing and joking and all of that, all those things that I love, I get to create. So I would ask them, why are you doing this? Is this a passion that you have? And I would say, tell me your goal. What's your goal? And I want to see if it's big enough, because a guy or a girl who's going to have such a crazy big goal, I'm like, you got it right now. Right now you have it. Because
you can at least dream of something.
You're dreaming.
Yeah. Nobody else placed that in you, because there's not many people that have this ability to have this huge vision, right? To have this idea of what's possible that somebody hasn't put in their brain. They'll all tell you can't get there. That's what people are going to tell you, right? But they aren't going to place it. So do you look at so a couple questions. How many customers are repeat?
Oh, a lot.
Is that a lot of your business?
Yeah, and then referrals from those repeat clients. Yeah, I mean, I do marketing, Chef Ken on Instagram, and then theathomechef.com, but mainly it's always been word of mouth. Before I was savvy on Instagram or Facebook and could figure that out, and understand all the ins and outs of that. It was just following up with people. Thank you so much for inviting us into your home. We look forward to doing this again. Let us know if there's anything we can help you with. In the meantime, if you have any food questions or help with anything, just let me know. Reach out to me. Here's how you can get a hold of me. A lot of those early clients, it's weird. A lot of those early clients are like really good friends of mine now. Like it's incredible when I look through my stories and I see, every once in a while I want to see what the traction is, what's the number on the stories, who's seeing, who's not. And I'll look down at the people. I'm like, client. So it's all people I know. And not only do I know them, but I know when their birthday is. I know that, their dad's going to turn 75 next year and they want to have a party. I know that their kids are graduating from college and they want to throw a party. I get to know the people intimately if they're interested in that. And develop a relationship with them way beyond just doing the one dinner.
You know what I think is awesome? It speaks to what you're talking about. You don't talk about the ones you don't like, but we all have those. But I think one of the biggest benefits of operating a business and entrepreneurship when you're getting in intimate situations, I do in real estate, you do in the culinary space, is that you get to pick who you want to be great friends with, and you see who they are. You're exposed to them, and you're like, you know what, me as an adult, I know how to pick the right friends now. And you're exposed to all these people, how they treat their other friends, how they treat the people who work for your company. And you'll find 4 or 5 or 6 awesome people that I don't care what anybody says, they beat all your friends when you were a little kid. Because now you get to see this evolution of them as an adult, and you're like, man, that's the type of people I want to be with.
Right. And you start putting yourself it's a result of just kind of your journey that you're on. I don't forget about people that I've known for a long time. I love them. I mean, they're just unbelievable friends that have stood by me through all kinds of different parts of my life. But with that said, I mean, you're always going to have, different friend groups. So for instance, in 2020, late 2019, I got invited to be in the 2020 class for leadership in Northern Kentucky. So I was involved in that, looked down at the list of people, lawyer, architect, this, that, and here's Ken at the bottom, like the at-home chef. Who's this? What's this guy do? And I actually met with the chair of the group because she's from Rhode Island, so I felt like we had this connection that I could talk to her and go have coffee and be like, hey, were you just short of people or what happened? Because I didn't really feel like I fit in to that group. You see me. I don't come in here with a suit on. I'm not, I am who I am. That's kind of how I carry myself. And she goes, no, we loved your answers. And we had hundreds of other applicants and we only chose these, 49 people. So, and in that process, I learned that not only did I belong, but I was necessary in that group as far as the dynamic. And in the process of doing that, I've done 5 dinners off of people that are involved in that. Just got asked to do another one, but I'm going to be unavailable that day. I'm going to be out of town. So, but potentially be 6. But I know that there are certain people in that group that will. Oh, I've done more than that. I don't know.
You've probably done 10 or 12 or 15.
I've probably done 8 to 10, maybe. Yeah,
so what's the message for entrepreneurs there?
Well, just the way that I am, I just didn't really feel, this is before Ken went through his weight loss journey. It's before I did any of that, so my confidence level was okay. I know that I could do a dinner, execute it, nail it, but that extra layer of like feeling like
I belong here.
I belong in this community. I belong alongside anybody else who wants to, be next to me. And that was a big journey. And it's opened up a lot of different resources for me as far as the Northern Kentucky area. It's made some lifelong connections that have been very beneficial. So if you have the opportunity, I would apply for that.
Through the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And it's definitely a lot of fun, but you are going to learn a lot about yourself going through that for sure.
This journey of in 202 days, the 50-year-old Ken.
That's right.
Still 49.
That guy.
Still the 49-year-old Ken. Explain this process of entrepreneurship. Explain this journey. And is it worth it? Do you recommend it?
Well, second question first. Yes, it's worth it. But be willing to get your head stomped in the ground over and over and over again. And, I know that's kind of cliche. A lot of entrepreneurs will say that, but unless you've been through a little. And look, I haven't been in business that long. It's it's a very short amount of time as far as I'm concerned.
But that's when you get your teeth kicked in.
Yeah, that's when it's the hardest because you don't have any confidence. And I would say that you need to, first of all, make sure that you're passionate. I would tell you the second thing is learn everything you can about what you intend to do. Never stop learning. You want to, people say, Ken, what's your favorite thing to cook? Whatever I haven't ever cooked before. Something I have to go out and spend a few days to a week or so testing and learning and going and buying ingredients I've never used before. All that stuff makes me super excited. And the challenge of doing that is always what's my favorite thing to cook. But learning, because I think a lot of times when I see entrepreneurs, I look at kind of what they're doing and I'm like, I see the hustle, but they're not undeniable. And they're not working towards being undeniable. So when you walk in the room, you shouldn't have to introduce yourself, right? I mean, the top entrepreneurs in the world, when they walk in the room, they're known by one name, like Bezos, Elon. They don't have to introduce themselves. I'm certainly not comparing myself to them.
But why not? Here's the thing. Why can't you become that, right? I think you have to believe that about yourself.
Right.
To achieve excellence, to have tremendous ambition, I think you have to believe that's possible.
Yeah, but I would also say that in between where I'm at now and to that point, there's a lot of in between. So I still, if I still am at the point where I want to create as many best meals of all time for the rest of my life. So whatever that takes.
So if we don't have the fortunate benefit of having Ken Durbin in our house over the next 200. Well, we can, and we're going to talk about that. But if we aren't, because you're so damn busy, you just talked about it, somebody called you, and you just weren't available that day, right?
Scarcity marketing is a thing.
Is that it?
That's
Guys,
right.
You know what? I know last week I told you that I wasn't available, but it just opened up. Hey, I don't know if I can do that Wednesday night, but how about Thursday night? And then all of a sudden his Wednesday night opens up, Dave. Isn't it just funny? Scarcity marketing. That's
Scarcity
a whole nother
marketing.
class. Okay.
FOMO, people always want what can't have. And the clients that I cook for, they will look at it and go, he's like, well,
he's in demand.
How dare he say no to me?
Yeah, they'll fit you in. They'll create a dinner the next night just to have you. So if we aren't fortunate to have the at-home chef, the original, in our before you're 50, we'll definitely make sure after 50. But how should we pick a good restaurant to go to?
That's a good question.
How do you pick it?
I'll look.
Your buddy that's a chef, a referral. What do you look at?
Yeah, I'm tied into the community, so if restaurants that I like to go to, I don't necessarily tell people I'm going to be at the restaurant, but I like going. But like when I'm out of town, like we're going to Nashville, and I'm actually going to see Pearl Jam next Friday.
You know what, man? Hey, I went with one of the biggest Pearl Jam fans ever. This guy did the Seattle, Boston, whatever tour 2 years ago.
Yeah, I did Fenway. That's the only one I could
He went to he went to Seattle. It was crazy. And he took me to, I'm telling you, his cover band, it was as if Eddie Vedder, they're out of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of them.
It's as if it was him singing.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome. It's named after one of their songs. Damn it, I forget.
I can't think of it right
but
now.
I'm telling you, they were awesome. I think this guy's been doing it for like 20 years. He was incredible.
Yeah, Pearl Jam's my favorite band since college. My friends and I have all been going. First show I saw in '96 in Toledo, and it's been kind of following them ever since.
Yeah.
And lately, they've become pretty big guys. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they don't do those long concerts anymore, and they don't do 50 shows or 60 shows in a year. Like when they used to come, they would do Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Columbus, Lexington.
Scarcity marketing.
Yeah.
Right? You go where they are now. You're going to Nashville.
I'm going to Nashville, so when I go there, I'm like, okay, do I want to get there at Thursday and just do Friday and come home? No, I'm getting there Wednesday. I'm going to Audrey, which is Sean Brock's new restaurant. got reservations. Going to Husk the next night, which that's one he used to own. Amazing restaurant. Very farm focused, everything for within about 30 miles of that restaurant. That's the only thing you're going to have. Plus they have incredible bourbon there. So then there's Friday night, and then Saturday we're going to the other Sean Brock restaurant, which is Continental. So like I like Sean Brock. It's one of my favorite chefs, and so for me in Nashville, it's simple. I'm just thinking like I'm going to all his restaurants.
The chef, it's the chef there.
Yeah,
but how does an average person who doesn't have any idea what they're doing, right? I'm just like, I want some Italian, so we'll just go to like Pompilio's around here, or because I'm not getting to Pep and Dolores because I don't know anybody,
right?
And so, and I don't even know if it's that damn good anyway. I just know you're going to pay a ton for it, or
Soto,
right. So, so how do we pick a great restaurant? Not to get you to go on record with brands and picking, but
I don't really have it. Like when I would say with a good restaurant, I would look at the menu. I always go menu first, and I can start reading a menu and know what the story is with that restaurant normally.
Well, tell us how to read the story of a menu.
I'm looking for like, are they scattered? Is there a theme? Like, what kind of ingredients are there? How are they talking about the ingredients? Where do they get the ingredients? If all of that's important to you. Now some people that are listening are like price motivated. Well, then go look at the menu and see what the prices are. Like, is this going to fit? But I always look at the menu. Like, it's the first thing I always go look for. I don't look at all their fancy little dining room pictures or, the food pictures. I go right to the menu and I start seeing, okay, this says it's more seafood based. Well, let's find out. Like, do they talk about where they get their seafood from? Are they talking about, is it, are they getting it wild? Or like if they're getting salmon, if it's farm raised or wild caught, or, where are we getting the stuff from? And does it make sense? And are they all over so if it's a seafood place, or they got tacos or something on the menu, or they got ribs or something, like, doesn't make any sense. Yep. So, that's just that. Now that's.
But that for you, that's what's important to you. You want the story of the menu.
Right.
So
because
we need to try to read the story in our own way.
Yeah. And I look at ingredients that they're using. Like, is this a trend? Are they just being trendy? Like, what? Because like I told you when we first started, you can taste ego in a restaurant. If you go to a restaurant and this chef wants to be all about him, he's going to use ingredients that he knows nobody else is going to know, so he can put it there. Well, I mean, it just depends on if it makes sense for the dish. Like, I've gone to restaurants before and I've sat there and go, there's no need for that. He just wanted to put, or she or he wanted to put that on the menu because they want it to be like, oh, what's that? And they're going to Google it. And they feel cool because they learned what, something was. Yeah, I mean, that's
okay. That's
great,
their thing, right? But
that's
whatever.
Their thing. And if they want to do that, that's fine. They put their name on it. If they do it, that's on them. But, some of the best restaurants here in the city are all service-driven restaurants, and that's why they're so good. They put the person coming through the front door is their most important. Every single person is important. And, I always go to the Jeff Ruby restaurants because I always say, if you can't hire me, you probably should go downtown and see Jeff and a wonderful group of people, especially at the steakhouse downtown. It's unbelievable.
It's next level service.
Waiter comes to the table. He's been there 20 plus years, and then the manager, he says, halfway through dinner, he's like, hey, you want to have a cigar out? I'll reserve you a table. It was just a great experience. So when I left there and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is what we do for people. This is how good they are. Like, they're creating this with all these hundreds of people that come in. You still feel like this is your restaurant.
Special. You feel special.
Yeah, and they do that at a high level. So normally there are other restaurants that do that, and there's wonderful. I can't tell you how many wonderful servers I've encountered in all the restaurants around here, and I have a deep respect and love for people who work in the service industry. Like Anthony Bourdain says, if you're with me and you disrespect anybody in the front of the house, And whether the food's slow, cold, whatever, if you disrespect, that's it. We're done. I won't. Yeah, we're not friends anymore because there's really no reason for it. That's just the line. I don't cross. I don't like to be disrespectful. And as a matter of fact, when I can walk into a restaurant and look over and go, it's rough right now. People are freaking out. They're slow in the kitchen. Like just within 10 minutes, I can see the way people are moving.
Looks on their faces, what their body language is.
Yeah. And then I just make it my point. And I'm like, we're going to make someone's life amazing tonight. Like we're going to give them such great service from us.
Yep.
We're going to service
reception.
We're going to service to them.
Yeah.
Because
and then in return, they're actually going to do a better job for your table than
right.
they do for anyone else.
And they're probably going to do it for the next 5, 6, 10 tables tonight because you just filled their cup up.
So why is that your obligation?
Because I've worked in restaurants and I know how hard it is. And when you don't feel like being there, sometimes just one person saying one thing, it changed your whole day, because a lot of times you're not making a lot of money. The hours are long. They're hard. It's hot. You're on your feet all day. It's unlike any other job that you're going to really do. It's very physical. It's very mental. And, I think people going into restaurants should check themselves a little bit. It takes a really small person to go into a restaurant and be disrespectful to the service staff for any reason, honestly. I mean, yeah, get a bad meal. You know what? That's just part of going out to eat. Every once in a while, you're going to get a bad meal. You need to deal with it, but it's not really that individual's fault. And even if it was their fault, you know what? You just move on. And maybe you just don't go to that restaurant again. But maybe you don't write like a 10-page Yelp review and be a jerk about it.
Man, those are the worst, man.
I'm going to tell you right now, chefs don't like that, and they're fighting back on it. And I appreciate. I saw what the Northside Yacht Club said the other day. I'm on Chowdown, Cincinnati, and they posted that. And I think he had every right. He had cameras. He told step by step what happened and what really happened versus what they said on the review. And it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And, back in the day, there was no, customers right and this and that. But people sometimes, they just want to be unhappy to be unhappy. They're going to make you unhappy.
That's it, man. They're unhappy human beings. And I think there is nothing worse. I talk about it with our real estate company, with our realtors. I'm like, guys, here's the thing. Everybody's got bad days, man. Mm-hmm. I said, you got to make sure you're not judging people the way you don't want to be judged. On those days when we deserve bad reviews, you really don't want it public because that's not who you are. You just had a bad day. Quit treating the rest of the world that way. Right. It is unnecessary, and really, you come out looking like a jackass.
And not only that, but what you put out is what you get back.
Oh, I'm telling you.
So if you're going to go out all day, cut people off, scream and yell out of your window, go to a gas station, yell at the attendant, yell at this person, go home, and then you sit back online and you're like, I can't figure out why I'm having such a bad day. No, it's because what you're putting out into the universe is coming back to you. And it typically comes back to you harder to teach you a lesson.
It's terrible.
So then the people are in this perpetual tornado of negativity, and everywhere they go, they're sucking more people in, to their negativity tornado, I call it, and then they're trying to figure out why is everything falling apart in front of me? I'm like, 'cause you need to stop, check yourself. And I'll tell you, in years past, in different struggles in my life, I've been a very negative person.
So I'm saying, man, this evolution that you're talking about is an awesome, humble place to get. It's like this judgment-free zone. And it's like you judge me however you want, but I've just learned that I'm going to evaluate people. I'm going to decide who I want in my life. But even if I decide I don't want you in my life, I'm not going to judge you for it. Mm-mm. I'm just not going to have you in my life.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to treat you bad. I'm not going to talk bad about you. We've learned all that stuff doesn't work.
No.
And so it is, it is just best to take every situation and say, how can I take this thing and how can I get better? How can I be kind? How can I treat others better? Because I know it always feels better if I'm the one that rises above and I'm the bigger person.
That's right.
And we had to learn that from not being.
It's hard to do that.
100% it is, but you just learn that's the best way.
Yeah, you learn that you can't sit in that, you can't sit in that negativity too long.
Brings you down.
Because I'll tell you, it brings me down quick. And then I start getting doubt, and doubt gets bigger and bigger and bigger and creates this just vacuum where you're like, hole where you feel like you can't get out. I mean, in the entrepreneur process, I think a lot of people deal with. I hate the word anxiety. I mean, I think if you're a business owner, you're always going to have anxiety. You know, I have anxiety about the dinner I got to do this Friday, but you know, I know that I have the skill set to overcome that anxiety. I think, but depression and being sad and feeling hopeless, especially when you're all alone, is a real thing. And, you know, that for me was really hard, you know. And
so how do you get to this place of, because I think anxiety is just pressure we put on ourselves. It's what it feels like to me, right? When we have massive anxiety, it's like, guys, it's not that bad. You can handle this. You can but your brain doesn't know.
You can harness it, though.
Yeah.
And that's the key. That's the switch over. So the switch over is that now if I'm having trepidation and I'm thinking about things, I'm like, all right, I got a dinner this Friday and next Tuesday, then I'm leaving for Nashville, and this next Tuesday, this lady hasn't come back to me yet, and I've reached out to her like twice. That's fine. I can have that type of anxiety because I can overcome it, and I have before. I think it's staying away from the anxiety of things that you can't control. So anxiety is worrying about things that haven't happened yet that you know you may not have control of. Those things you don't have control of, you know, you want to have them on your radar, but you certainly don't want to be putting a lot of energy towards that, because what you can't change,
it's just not worth your time and energy in your mind space. It's just not. It's going to ruin you. So how do we help through and through this conversation? I hear this place of Ken didn't used to be totally confident. He's been insecure at moments. He's had moments of depression. He still has moments of anxiety, but it's all worth it. I do have this fundamental belief, too, that almost all problems that I see people dealing with, that they don't have the proper mindset, that they don't believe in themselves, they can overcome it. There is a lack of self-confidence and a lack of self-esteem that is creating negative self-talk in their mind that's holding them back. Like, I really think I break almost all these things down to it. How the hell can we help more people?
You got to earn the confidence, and then you got to confirm it. So when you do something, you have to just do it over and over and over again. So it's not like I don't look at one dinner and try to put it out and go, okay. No, it's I do the dinner, I enjoy it, I say it out loud. We just killed it. We did great. I confirm it out loud to myself, move on to the next one. I don't even think about that anymore. If I win Best Chef in Northern Kentucky, I enjoy it for one day. I confirm it out loud, move on. The next day, I'm on to the next dinner. I'm on to what's next. I never try to stay too far behind or what I was doing or what I did do. I always keep moving for
the next thing.
The next thing, another one.
So don't think for just one more.
Just one more. Just
right?
one more. What can I do? Just one more. So one more is kind of a philosophy of someone by the name of Ed Milet.
Yep.
He just had the book.
It's his brand new book.
Yeah, and the book I listened to in the car, and it was wonderful. I highly recommend it. The Power of One More.
Yep.
So it's just about doing one more. And so for me, I try to earn the confidence, confirm the confidence, and then I move on. I try not to, in that earned that's what people are like, well, how do you get you got to earn it. So you got to, whatever it's that you're doing,
just
right?
Take action, just do it. Just sell a house.
If it's selling houses, like I was going to say, it's like you sell the house, you throw it on social media, you do whatever you need to do. And then you're on.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Yep.
And just do it again and do it. Well, I'm not seeing that. I don't care. Do it again. Do it again. Just keep doing it. But I've done 10 of them. I don't care. Just keep doing it. And then you're going to look back and you're going to be like, well, oh my God, that's how much work it takes to get here.
But yet it's so simple at the same time.
And but then when you've done 20,
yep.
Now you're walking around and you're like, wait, where's the unconfident person anymore? I'm like, I don't even know who that person is anymore, because I know it. I can go get a listing. I can get it under contract, and I'm already thinking about the next 5 that I do. So I'm already thinking I'm going to close these. I'm going to get into commercial real estate. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to start buying properties. I'm going to start flipping. You know, did that person that didn't think they were going to sell 5 houses in a year, did they think like that? No, you have to get to that point. You got to do that. So by doing, you have to do one more. You do it, and we do the dinner, do the next dinner, do the next dinner. Just keep taking those baby steps.
And the why is what matters.
That's right. So the why is that I enjoy doing it for the client, not me. This don't have anything to do with me. So, you know, that to me, the confidence thing is a tough one, especially when you're starting out, because your confidence is unrealized. Your earned confidence, I guess, is what I meant, is unrealized. But once you start earning it and you start doing the work, and then you get a good,
then you start to believe a little bit.
You get that, and you get that idea of how much work it actually takes to get to the point where you're like, wow.
There's no question. Then you can actually decide if you want to do it anymore.
That's right. Yeah, so
you need to have a little success, do some dinners, sell some homes, right? Sell some insurance, sell some cars, whatever it is. You got to keep going. So you do a little bit enough, and you're like, is that rewarding enough?
Right.
Do I like it enough?
Yeah, and that's where the passion takes over.
Yeah.
So having that really and being undeniable becomes a way of your life, because you're constantly, if you're doing real estate, you're constantly learning. You're taking trainings. You're doing what you need to do. You're doing what you need to do outside of what maybe someone's telling you to do what your friends are doing.
It's the same as this, right?
Right. Yeah. So if you're doing swag, I got a hat. He's filling up a hat here. Yeah. I mean, those hats are very popular. I only had like 3 left.
So where do they get them?
Shout out.
I went online. That link didn't work.
I know the link didn't work.
So they got to hit you up on Chef Ken on Instagram.
Just connect with me. First, like the page. No, you don't have to like.
No, hold on. Yes, they do.
Okay, they need to like the page. But if there's anybody out there, or if you know somebody that wants to help me with that, I dipped my toes into that, and
your website.
That was. Well, no, it was like a Shopify page and all that, and it was something I do not have time to do.
Yeah.
So for me, if there's anyone out there, you know, somebody that wants to do that, because I still have inventory, and I would like to sell it, but most of the time I just give it to clients.
Yeah.
I just give it out as freebies. I have a bunch of different stuff, and I use I can't think of the name right now. I'll have to look it up.
So can I ask the ultimate question? What's everyone ask you? What do they ask you?
What's your favorite thing to cook, Chef?
Well, I'm not going to ask you that. Do you want to answer that?
I said earlier. I said it's whatever I haven't cooked before.
Okay. What's your average number of people you cook for normally?
That's a real good question. Typically, what a normal dinner table in someone's home would fit. So 6 to 8.
Okay. So
10, 12, and 14.
Say 8 people.
8 people. That's just about the sweet spot.
Okay.
Right
so
there.
Give me, if I hired you next month on the only night you're available.
That's the 14th or 15th.
Okay. Here we go. Right. Give me a ballpark. What's that going to cost me?
Oh, yeah. It's on my website. Every dinner is $200 a person.
Okay.
And that includes everything that goes into doing the dinner.
I think 8 people for $1,600. You're just cleaning my kitchen for me. I think that's good. So we can fire the cleaner, and so you're going to cook the dinner and you're going to clean the whole kitchen afterwards.
Yeah, no, we're going to leave.
This is good.
We're going to leave your kitchen so clean. You're going to wake up the next morning, come downstairs, and go, "Did we even have a dinner here last night?" Yeah.
Good. So you're going to clean my messes that you didn't even create in my kitchen.
Absolutely, and I'm going to take your garbage out when I leave.
Okay, so pile it up for a week in advance.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
So $1,600 for an 8-person dinner.
Customized. I've never repeated a menu in all the years I've done the business. So if you and I'm going to say, tell me about what we're celebrating. Are we celebrating anything? Or is this just a night we want to get all the families in the neighborhood together? And we're going to talk about, first of all, is there any restrictions? Now, there's 2 or 3 people that are vegan, one's vegetarian. Okay, what would they like? Because I want to make something different for them.
Yeah.
I do that.
That's important.
I don't if there's dairy issues or any kind of
anything.
I don't say issues, but if there's restrictions, I will accommodate to all restrictions. And I want to make a one-of-a-kind in-home fine dining experience that you're going to remember and create memories for forever. So we're going to sit down and talk about it either through email, over the phone, or we can meet. And we're going to talk about exactly what you want. Tell me about the greatest meal you've ever had in your life. How can I recreate that, or how can I make that better? And in that process, we're going to create a menu. I'm going to source from my sources that I get from basically, if it's meat, it's Eckerlin's down at Findlay Market. I use ETC as far as a lot of produce that I can get there down at Findlay Market.
Why is that important? And we'll come back to this too. Why is this farm to table and local thing important?
Well, first of all, I'm a local business. So I'm going to support local people.
Okay, so that's a big portion.
That's a big part of it. Okay. The second part is they're the best. So if I'm sourcing from Eckerlin's and Josh, shout out to Josh down there, 1852, I believe, Josh. I don't know. We'll have to confirm that. But I believe is when they were there. I mean, I can just go.
Why
in
are
there.
They the best? Like
they're the best because if I can text him and go, here's exactly what I need. Absolutely, chef. Anything else? Done. Pick it up. It's the best. Like I had people who were at the dinner this past weekend who I made the fillets for, and honestly, fillets are delicious, but they're not the best cut of steak. I mean, you're giving me a grin. You know that. So sometimes it takes a little finesse, I think, to really get a great flavor in that. And they said, that's the best filet I've ever had in my life. And these are people that have traveled around the world.
All the great steakhouses.
They've all gone, and, they're telling me that. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even pay him to say that. They said it. And, it comes from, we start with the butcher. Right, how they handle it, how they take care of the food, how they take care of the steak, how do they trim it, how are they doing that? What's the care and the love that goes in at that point? That carries all the way through to the plate. So that's why I always like to use people who have the same focus in their business and attention to detail like I do. So if I need, a certain vegetable, or if I need something, I also use the Chef's Garden, which is up in Huron, Ohio.
Farmer on the Wake?
Yeah, it's close. Yeah. Farmer Jones, who supplies microgreens and vegetables and everything all over the world to all the Michelin star restaurants. His stuff is unbelievable. I know that if I have a client and they're wanting, like I had a lady, she's like, I want purple violas, edible flowers on this certain course. No problem. Call him up, sends it to me, and I know that it has on there, these were picked on this day by this person. Boom, boom, boom. So, like, I like having that because it shows that I'm not worried about giving them a subpar product and then trying to zhuzh it up to my level. No, it needs to be at a high level. I don't really sacrifice on quality to make extra margin. And so I may spend a little bit more on product. But it's only because I intend to deliver the best meal they're ever going to have. So that requires me to source from places where, I completely trust. There's other places like Lucan's down in Findlay Market do seafood, Redden's meat and seafood out in Madeira. Different people that do things like that. There's a lot of McGlasson's farms, obviously. I mean, if you want apples right now, I'd run down there right now.
Is it because the local people, they specialize in it and they just care more? There's not this huge bureaucracy and all these levels of managers. They're just closer to touching it.
Right. And when you want to describe the meal, say, okay, we got first course today. It's we got these peaches from here. They were grilled, and then we have arugula from here, from Root House Aquaponics. We have lettuce that's from them. They are on the east side of Cincinnati. I've been there. I can tell them how they do it. I can tell, and you can taste the difference in it. So instead of just buying it from, whatever
big brand.
Yep. So it's like, so if you're a chef and you're like, well, but I can make, I know all the calculations for food cost. I know all the formulas. I took the classes. Mm-hmm. I know, but I also know that there's a certain level of quality that I will not compromise on. So for me, if that means I'm spending an extra few bucks, you better believe I'm going to do it because it carries over to the final product and it carries over to the satisfaction of my client, which is the number one thing.
So how long is this experience normally for 8 people?
Can be as long as you want. We've started dinners at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We started dinners the other night. We did one for 6 and we started at 8:30. Like we didn't even serve the appetizers till 8:30. There were some circumstances, and
Does it go on for 3 hours?
It tends to go for about 3 to 4 hours. But honestly, I tell the client we'll be there as long as you want. I mean, I've had who's the gentleman, I believe he's the CEO of NetJets at Lunken. He, it was just him and his wife, and they wanted to celebrate, but they had a new baby. And she's like, oh, we can have appetizers and first course. And then she goes, do you mind if I put the baby down and come? I'm like, absolutely, take your time. And that's what the experience with us is all about. So it's being accommodating. We're going to follow any kind of rules. We use our own plates and our own stuff, but if you want to use your own china and it needs to be polished, absolutely no problem. We'll wash and polish and put them away for you. So anything that we accommodate to any need that you have, because it's important that we're creating an experience for you and that what you want. So
you've probably been in more nicer homes in Cincinnati than I have, and that's what I do. So
yeah, probably the one we can talk off here, but there was one I did last Christmas that was very interesting. You can scroll back through my Instagram.
Guys, you'll have to hire Ken to hear the interesting conversation, because I'm going to get it right after this.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you want to hear the story, you're going to have to hire him. So hey, man, where do they find you? I think it's at Chef Ken on Instagram.
Yeah, you can start there. Chef Ken on Instagram, the At Home Chef on Facebook, and theathomechef.com for my website. If you want to look at beautiful pictures and get extremely hungry quickly, Instagram's your best bet. The link right there in my bio on Instagram will get you, all the different places you need to get. Or you can just reach out to me via email. That's ken@theathomechef.com. I guarantee I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Well, for $1,600 a night, I damn straight he's going to get back to you.
I'll get back to you within 8.
What do we miss, man? Anything else?
No. I'm sitting here with the water, but I'm staring at all this bourbon that you have stacked on the barrels in here, and I'm like, what?
We'll give. We don't have a lot of the great stuff back here that people consider, but we have a few.
No, you got a good selection. That I have a nice little bourbon bottles back home, and
there's some Four Roses in the back. That was a special pick.
There you go.
I think there's 2 or 3 Wellers. I don't know if people like
I'll
those.
give you a little hint. I have what's called upstairs bourbon and downstairs bourbon.
Okay.
So upstairs bourbon is just for those occasional people that come by, an acquaintance, maybe a neighbor you're not too sure about. They get the upstairs bourbon. But if you come over, we'll go down and get the downstairs bourbon, which is way, way better.
Tell me what needs to be in my downstairs bourbon. Give me 3 or 4. Maybe some that we don't know about. Give me 3.
Ooh.
Give me 3 that need to be in the downstairs bourbon.
Well,
come on.
I think now we're getting down a rabbit hole.
No, let's go. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Because bourbon is to me.
Don't tell me
different.
it's personal and specific.
No,
okay.
No, it's ego and what people think tastes better and what really tastes better.
Okay,
the harder bottles to get don't necessarily.
I agree that Pappy
taste
stuff
better.
and all that. I don't.
I have it, but I have it because I had an opportunity to get it.
But give me the 3. The 3. I don't care if it's $40 or $25.
I'll tell you, my number one
3.
is Weller 12. I've been drinking that for a very long time.
Is that the black label?
Yes.
Okay, so we have some of that.
12-year. That's still my favorite, but I like that type of bourbon. High corn, very good bourbon. I would say Blanton's for sure.
Okay.
I mean,
why Blanton's? Because we've got a Blanton sitting there.
Because I think it's incredibly tasty. I had a lot of Blanton's yesterday. Well, a little bit, not a lot, but
guys, he's starting to hit the bourbon more. He's hitting the bourbon more. So Blanton's. So we've got both of those. What else? What am I missing? Give me one I'm missing.
One that's down in Maysville that I like, and it's not a real high age stamp. I think it's 8 years. Is Pogue.
Oh yeah.
You ever tried Pogue?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Isn't it kind of a round bottle or something?
Yeah. So I had the opportunity, and I still am very good friends with Mary Pogue and the family, and we took a trip down there, and she walked us around, told us all about their story. They have the 3rd oldest bourbon license in the state of Kentucky. Good old Remus tried to steal it out from under him, and there's a whole story there, and I won't tell you the story. I'll make you go down there and have them tell you about it. There's one guy does all the distilling, all of it, and then when the bottles are ready and they're aged and ready to go, the family comes down. You'll see they're handwritten in pen on the bottles, and I think it's one of my favorite tasting bottles. That's kind of like my okay. Because I like them. I'm gonna tell you a bottle that you should go out and look for. That isn't really that hard to get, but it tastes amazing. Is Wathens.
How do we spell that? WATEHENS.
TEHENS. The last time I saw those bottles were available down at Spoon in Covington.
Yep.
I think Steven had a couple of them down there.
Okay.
Wathan's, yeah.
Is it?
Like, we opened it. The bottle looks just like Elmer T. Lee.
Okay.
Okay. Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
What's
it cost? 40,
should,
50, 60
should
bucks?
cost $39,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
30,
So
39,
normal retail.
49. I think people are starting to catch on to it.
What about it?
It just tastes really good. It just was great. Had great mouthfeel. It was just really, really easy to drink. Where I thought it was going to be a little harsh, a little hot, a little aggressive, as I like to call it. You know, some of them. If we were to get into that Crown Royal peach over there.
Man, come on, baby. Don't be hating on my flavored. Give me some apple, some
man.
peach. Man, give me a little Crown and ginger. We'll be popping up in this place. Let's go, right? I'm not going to get into it, but that Gentleman Jack's on the left there, right? You're not going to believe it, man. I bought my biggest real estate deal ever, and those sumbitches gave me that.
Hey,
I
man.
bought it was millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
And those sumbitches gave me that.
Man, I hope they're listening.
Well, I'm not going to name who they are, but
We're going to name names.
What about that Bullet?
Bullet, very good for mixed drinks, mixers. I think if you want to talk bourbon like in depth, we should get Molly Wellman on.
She was already here.
Oh, she was.
Let's go,
so
baby.
What do you think?
What do you think this is? Huh?
Yeah.
Did he not know where he came? She might come back, man. She just recently sold Japs.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen her. We're not great friends. I had another connection through her.
Yeah.
But she's so fun and so energetic. But I haven't seen her smile as big as she's been smiling on social media recently.
Yeah.
It's been a long time from how I tracked her. So
right.
It was awesome. She sat down in our first studio, and we sat down for a couple hours. There was so much more knowledge that she could have shared. I need to bring her back.
She's a history teacher.
Yeah, it's awesome,
She taught about, she wrote online yesterday or the day before about fireworks.
Yep.
Because of fireworks. And
It's
she wrote
incredible.
that how they had that pyro garden up in Mount Adams and how they moved it down to down by the river, and that's where the Rosie's came. And
Man,
like, this whole
she's got passion all over, man.
Yeah.
You're talking about a mixologist because that's what
right. Yeah.
just incredible.
Yeah, I'm a casual bourbon drinker, which got caught up in the bourbon collecting problem.
That is a problem. What's wrong with you guys?
I'm recovering.
Yeah, you need to sell your shit. Unleash this madness.
I've been asked to count the bottles I have open. I have like 41 bottles open, so there's some going down the drain.
Jesus, come on, Durbin.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Yeah.
You need to start moving some of that shit up to the top with the makers and all that stuff that you give to the people that are down the street.
Yeah. Well, that's what my friends would say. They're like, Ken, you're not even drinking this. I'm like,
I don't drink that much either.
But now these bottles, they become commodities.
I know. What about some Basil Hayden?
I'm just not a big blended rye fan.
What about our new riff?
New riff love.
So
single barrel new riff.
We did pick.
Yeah.
We did our own pick.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we
Nice.
did our own pick. So we have some of those bottles. And then what's this Willet? What's that?
Willet Pot Still. That's their. If you go down to Willett's distillery, they have a huge. That's where they'll distill the bourbon out, and it's huge. It's like 3 stories high.
Just like that.
It looks
same
just
shape.
like that. Yep. Those Willet Family Reserves. If you
they're
like 2,000-3,000 now. So
you probably have 1 or 2. What about the Elijah Craig?
I might.
I know you do. We know. What about the Elijah Craig?
Like Elijah Craig's Barrel Proof are probably my favorites on those. They've been making a lot of great Barrel Proof Elijah Craig. Now, you can get into the high age statement, 18, 20, 21, 23s.
Do you like that stuff?
I was told I watched a Scotch documentary on Amazon, and the guy was talking about, all these high age stamps scotches are just for people that want to show you what they have. The best age for scotch is somewhere between a 12 and 15.
I got a 12 to 15-year Glenfiddich back there.
Nice.
All
I like that. Berlotti is one of my favorites. Okay. I like the Balvenie 21 Portwood.
I haven't heard that's okay.
Balvenie 15 to cherry, a sherry cask. That's a great after dinner drink. Yeah,
you show up with that, right, for your special clients?
I will show up with bourbon if it's somebody's birthday, and that's my way of going above and beyond. And they're, the wife's like, "Oh yeah, he really likes bourbon," and I go, "No." I don't tell them I'm bringing the bottle. I just bring the bottle.
It's special.
Yeah.
All right, man. So I guess the way we can help you is just highlight what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Have people go to your website. Since guys, you're probably not going to be able to get in until 2025, but you can call him and try.
Yeah. Well, we could just talk about food. No, come
or
on.
bourbon.
I mean, I do have people booked out to January, so
it's awesome.
We are still busy, but there's a lot of opportunities, and I wouldn't let that not contact me. We'll fit you in.
All right, guys, and we're gonna have him come out. I'm working on this house in the East Row in Newport now. If I ever get it done, my significant other, she'll be so happy, and we're gonna have some people over. So.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll have you over, man. It'll be fantastic. I was there talking about dimensions of this dining room today and this awesome kitchen, so she deserves it. She's been waiting for a long time. So thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Great
Thank
conversation.
You for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Great.
Maybe we get Molly back in here if she'll have us, and you sit down with a couple more people, and we just go deep on bourbon.
I'll sit down there and be quiet and mind to my own if you just keep feeding me cocktails. I'm a happy guy.
That's what we'll do. We'll have her mixing it up. Hey, thanks, man, and look forward to next time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Yep.